Okay, the job we're going to tackle today is replacing the starter on a 5.4 liter Ford F150 pickup truck. And first of all, let's take a look at where the starter is located. As you can see, I've already got this car, some disassembly done. Jacked it up using the regular Ford jack that it came with. Jacked the tire up when I got it high enough. I put a couple railroad ties under the frame here and brought the frame back down on the ties. I also have, for a little extra over there, I have a floor jack. So the starter itself, I should say, replaced the wheel, took the wheel off, replaced the wheel well cover, making the job much simpler without that thing in the way. The starter's located down in here. See, right there, tucked away underneath the exhaust manifold. And there are three 13mm nuts that mount the starter onto the frame, and then some electrical connections. I've got the tools assembled that it takes to do this job. This is not too bad. An assortment of sockets, both 1/2-inch drive, 3/8, and even quarter. Quarter works well with the electrical connectors underneath. It's a 10 and 13mm. And in order to get the ones on top out, what's really useful is to have a swivel. I have a 3/8-inch swivel there to reach down in there and get at those 13mm mounting bolts. And of course, safety. Some gloves so you don't nick yourself up. And when you're working underneath the car, which I'm going to be doing on this job, it's good to have some goggles because sand, dirt, debris has a nasty habit once you go in there and start disturbing it of falling, and you don't want that in your eyes, so definitely wear safety goggles, not just safety glasses, to keep that debris out of there. Okay, we're going to get at it. We're going to take the top bolts off first and then work underneath and finish up. So before we get started on this 2000 F150 starter removal, let's disconnect the battery, since we are working on an electrical part. Always best for safety's sake to do that first. This, by the way, is a 2000 F150 5.4 liter that I'm working on today. Okay, this is the rig that I've set up here. I just built this with extensions, swivels, and a 13mm to get back in here and get this off. And we broke it loose. Got a similar setup to do the front nut and the front bolt on the upper starter bolt. And all that's left to do then is to get the lower one out. Now I can just turn this off by hand. You can see my rig here. Turning, 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 turning. It's a fairly long bolt. Okay. And there it is. And this will be the rig that it takes to get down in there. Okay, here we are underneath. First thing we're going to do is take this cap off here. This little cover fits over two of the electrical connections. There's a 10mm and a 13mm nut holding these wires onto the solenoid. We'll start with the 10mm. Get a ratchet on there. Okay, with the 10mm pretty well out of the way. There it is. There's a 10mm nut. Get the wire off of there. Let's go after the other one. 13mm. Again, got our 1/4-inch ratchet. This is not a torque in operation here. That one actually is quite loose. So we'll spin that off the rest of the way. Okay, and there it is. 13 millimeter. Okay, the next thing we have to do is take the nut off of the ground wire. It's also the final connection. And here, this takes a 13 millimeter. We got a rig set up here with a ratchet, half-inch ratchet. Okay, got that on there. And an extension bar. Okay, we broke. That's loose. I'll turn that nut off. Now this nut is simply holding the ground wire on. It's not actually, we're not actually loosening the nut that holds the starter itself. Okay, so we'll pull this off. Our ground wire out of the way. And what we're left with now is a nut. 13 millimeter stud nut combination here. We'll put our same setup that we had to take off the nut. Yes, these aren't terribly tightly torqued. Okay, now you can see the starter's coming loose. We're going to let it hold here for a minute. Okay, so we got it out of there. There it is. Genuine rusty Wisconsin starter. Original Motorcraft part. All that remains to do is get a new one and install it. The hard part's over. Thanks for watching.